Despite the original ball placement as each athlete jump being so different, the angle of release now is fairly similar. Jade released the ball when her arms were laterally extended in front of her at 135° angle, whereas the elite athlete released his at 150° angle above his head. His higher angle of release and height of release meant that, as said before, he was able to achieve an arc that increases the size of the target and thus making it more likely it will go in. Jade's shot, on the other hand, is at a 135° angle, combined with her hand positioning, reduced her angle of release to make its trajectory flatter on the horizontal lane, massively reducing the chance of it going in. As she shoots, both her hands move behind the ball instead of keeping them on the left and back of the ball, reducing its accuracy. As a result of this flick, her hand is at a 20° angle instead of the 45° angle of flick as shown by the elite athlete. Furthermore, the positioning in each body's athletes are different. For example, the elite athlete tucks his leg in line with his torso, allowing him to maintain a rigid posture of 180 degrees throughout his body whilst generating all of the power from his drum. Jade, on the other hand, has a slight angular posture as she attempts to push herself forwards, almost in an attempt to shoot the ball as hard as possible, instead of generating the power from her legs in which are flicked back. She should work on tucking her legs in so they're on the same axis, allowing an increase in power as she will not have to change her shooting form to compensate for the lack of power, increasing the accuracy of her shot. Despite her angle of release and hand positioning being incorrect, Jade does actually follow through her shot with her arm in the recovery phase. However, although a minor detail, Jade's right arm swings across her body as she recovers. This suggests she had incorrect technique during the execution phase, which may have caused reduced shooting accuracy. The elite athlete maintains both shooting and non-shooting arm in a follow-through position until he reaches the ground. In the recovery phase of the shot, we can identify that our client's follow-through has some slight inaccuracies. The elite athlete has correct technique by following his shot through with his hands, maintaining them in a natural yet fairly straight recover path, at approximately a 90° angle for the non-shooting hand and an 80° angle for the shooting hand, flicking his wrist to increase accuracy. Jade, on the other hand, reduces her arms in length towards her instead of leaving them out in front of her, with her left hand at 100° angle and her right one bent across her. This means we cannot see the angle of her arm due to the camera being positioned in a side view. This technique will have significantly reduced the accuracy of her shot. In this section, the numerical model, we'll be focusing on our athletes' take-our jump match score in relation to their jump shot and rebounds. This can be done by identifying the laws of Newton and how their body can be manipulated in terms of the centre of mass, line of gravity and base of support. When the athletes exert force downwards into the ground when they jump on for a jump shot or a rebound, they are exerting an action force. The higher the action force produced, the higher they will jump. Basketball courts are very firm, meaning that they have a high stability. As a result of this, basketball players can jump at the highest potential. When the athletes exert this force into the ground, they are only able to jump due to a reaction force that has been produced. According to Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Consequently, when people jump and exert a force into the ground, a reaction force will be produced, allowing them to jump into the air. The extent of this reaction force will depend on the mass, weight, and amount of force produced. The higher the first two are, the lower the reaction force will be. The higher the third factor, the higher the reaction force will be. So here are the take-our jump map best results again. In order to perform a successful jump shot, it is essential that performers drop their centre of mass as they begin to jump. They can do this as they squat before the jump, making sure that their centre of mass is in the centre of base of support, increasing their stability. Coupled with their already wide stance of shoulder width apart, the performer will have an increase in control and accuracy in their shot. However, doing this will assert less action force onto the ground, so the reaction force produced is less, which is why athletes tend to jump off 1 foot for a dunk or layup. Performers can get the most of their jump shots due to the stability of the ground. As said before in the previous slides, basketball courts have a high stability, which means that the jump can be of a higher efficiency, allowing the athletes to reach the maximal height of their 2-footed jump for a rebound, according to Newton's third law. When the athlete releases the ball, according to NASA, it has experienced Newton's first law of motion. This law indicates that an object will remain at rest or in a uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change its state by the action of an external force. These external forces are gravity, air resistance, and the mass of the object. When a basketball player prepares to shoot, the mass is in its current state of inertia. The ball's in a current state of inertia, as all forces that are acting upon it are equal. When they apply force through the arm extension, it travels through the air. When rebounding, it is essential that athletes box out their opponents to allow them the greatest chance of rebounding successfully by shielding the opponent. In order to do this, they need to provide a wide base of support and a low centre of mass so their stability increases. However, as the ball rebounds out from the basket, they will have to quickly manipulate their centre of mass. They are likely to shorten their base of support, increasing the height of their line of gravity and thus reducing their stability. This will allow them to jump higher, increasing the action force into the ground from the initial squat push and thus produce a higher jump. Once they rebound the ball and reach the ground, they should drop their centre of mass once again by widening their base of support and dropping their line of gravity, allowing them to protect their ball in a triple threat position. So, we can identify that Jade scored above average for the both contested and uncontested jump shots, 3 shots, even though she scored below average on the take-high jump mat of 44. Jade may have reduced the action force she inputted into her jump in order to increase her stability and increase the control of her shot. This may have been a large reason as to why she was able to convert 3 shots above the class average. Ben, on the other hand, scored below average on the contested and uncontested jump shots, which scored 2, despite him being taller and scoring higher on the take-high jump mat of 49. Due to him being able to jump high and wanting to meet the performance criteria, Ben may have jumped too high, which in turn may have reduced his efficiency in scoring by reducing his stability. Jade rebounded more times than average when by herself, scoring 8, and also when contested 7. We would expect her to score a high result on the take-high jump mat as she is below average on height, however this is not the case. She scored below average on the take-high jump mat of 43, suggesting that her technique is excellent. We can infer she was able to box out her opponents, providing a wide base of support so that her opponents will massively struggle to win the rebound. Ben, on the other hand, scored above average on the uncontested rebounds, with 8, yet mapped below average on the contested rebounds, 4, despite standing at 190 centimetres and scored above average on the take-high jump mat of 49. As a result of this, we can conclude that it's his technique that's hindering him, failing to box out his opponents where they actually do it to him, making it very hard to rebound. So, what is good feedback and recommendations? When providing feedback, I must ensure that the feedback is confidential, so nobody else must know in case they are worried or upset about the result. I must ensure the language used is understood by the recipients so they can understand what I'm advising them to do. I must tell them their strengths and weaknesses to them and how these can benefit and hinder their performance, and use positive language so that they are not discouraged. So, factors that can influence performance. So we have the age, so younger athletes, for example, are able to move faster, and in this scenario will have larger range of movements in the joints for their jump shots than an older person would. The skill level, the higher the skill level, the higher the score should be. Previous training, such as skill level, if they have had previous training, then it's more likely they are accustomed to the technique and is likely to have a higher skill level and score. If they have a high confidence, they are more likely to try 100%, which may correlate to a higher score. And if they have good health, then they'll be able to perform correctly into the highest level. Whereas if they were ill, then they're likely to be performing at a poor level in relation to what they could be. So, Jade, regarding your jump shot, in our notational analysis, we identified that you scored 3 jump shots when uncontested and 3 jumps when there was a defender trying to block your shot. In relation to your class average, you scored above for uncontested of 2.9, and then above the average for 2.2 contested shots. In relation to your gender, you scored above the uncontested jump shot of 2.75 and was scored above on the contested jump shot, which was 2. Whilst you scored above in your class, your 30% scoring could and should be improved. When using a technical model, comparing your technique against the literature review and elite performer, there are some minor flaws in your technique that we can tweak to improve your score. In regards to your technique, as said before, there are some minor incorrect occurrences. The elite athlete had their feet shoulder width apart, whereas you didn't. You need to ensure that you do this so you can provide yourself a firm base to shoot on, but also so you can transfer force and energy from your legs as you jump. As a result of this, you can focus less on using your arms as your main source of power and focus on getting them in the correct position of having your non-shooting hand on the side of the ball and shooting hand behind it, rather than shooting it like a chest pass. This involves having the arm at a 90-degree angle horizontally to the body and above the head, increasing accuracy and correct form. Having it at the side massively reduces the leverage and vertical pushing motion, so you may struggle to achieve an arc that increases the chance of the ball going in rather than having a strong shot across the horizontal plane. In your execution phase, you had your torso at approximately 120-degree angles when releasing the ball, whereas the elite athlete jumped straight up at 180-degree angle through their body. By jumping straight up instead of outwards, it allows you to increase the arc in your shot due to a higher height of release, whilst increasing stability and therefore control, increasing the chance of the ball going in as it's not thrown across the horizontal plane. After you release the ball, your left foot landed later than your right foot and behind your body. If you mirrored the elite athlete, keeping your body rigid, it would have increased your control and balance over the shot. Due to your torso being moved forward, your left leg moves behind in an attempt to manipulate your centre of mass better. If you move these back towards your body, you would become more rigid and be able to move the power from your legs to your arms more effectively as your centre of mass is not having to compensate for your extremities being non-central. Regarding your jump shot for the numerical analysis, we identified that you scored 44 on your take-high jump mat. In relation to your class average, you scored below the average, which was 48. When compared to your gender, you scored slightly above average, in which was 41. Consequently, we may want to look at some weight training exercises and plyometric exercises. This will allow you to increase your action force, resulting in a larger vertical reaction force, increasing your jump height and therefore successful shots. You did correctly bend your legs to lower your centre of mass, however your feet were not shoulder width apart, meaning that the power you exerted onto the floor did not fully correlate into an equal and opposite reaction in your jumps. This reduced your stability. So, reasons for improvement. I've decided to focus your training program on the technical side of a jump shot rather than focusing on your leg strength to increase your jump. I chose to primarily focus on this technique for a jump shot as the notational analysis I performed showed that there is no correlation between the client's jump height and their rebound success. If you did want to improve your rebound, then you would just be a case of repetition. However, jump height should always be remembered as a crucial part of a jump shot, and these are the 3 areas I want you to improve on. Hand positioning of the ball, ensuring that you don't move your torso forwards, and making sure that your legs don't flick out behind, which allow you to keep control, manipulate the centre of mass, and control your shot even better. So, training program. To improve your jump shot, I've made a training program that focuses on your jump shot technique. As this training program will be over the space of 1 week, you'll participate in 3 training sessions, in which each has 2 drills and a test at the end of the day, allowing us to keep track of your performance. By doing these sessions 3 times a week, we can keep your training frequent and also progressive as you improve. Whilst the 2 drills stay similar throughout the week, we will increase the intensity and duration, allowing us to comply with the FIT principles of keeping the training frequent, increased intensity, of a correct time length, and a skill specific to basketball. Our first drill will consist of 10 shots from just behind the free throw line, which is where the shots will occur during our notational analysis. I've decided to include this as we can see your progress each time after the drill and make adjustments to our training regime as we go. Each drill will also comply with the sport principle, making the drills we do specific to the sport, having an increase in difficulty to progressively overload you, and performed regularly to stop reversibility in your skill. Whilst these only have 2 drills and a test, it is a mostly short training program, so should not promote any tedium. Our first drill will try to fix your problem where you shoot more in a horizontal plane as opposed to a vertical one. In this drill, you'll be positioned on the free throw line, much like test 1, in which she will then have the ball passed to you from an administrator on the 3-point line. When you receive the ball, you'll quickly turn around to represent a pivot in a basketball game before jumping and shooting. However, the main point of this technique is to make sure your hands are in the correct position with a non-shooting hand on the left side and the shooting hand behind the ball, above your head. She should also attempt to jump up instead of outwards, generating the power from her legs due to a change in hand positioning. In the second and third session, Jade will take the shot whilst having a defender close down her shot, allowing her to increase the efficiency of her shot. This should allow you to shoot with the correct form. By doing this, you will improve because of progressive overload and help reduce any tedium. You do this shot 10 times per drill and will take as long as it takes, removing any concerns of reversibility. The second drill will involve you shooting from different places around the court as shown below in the diagram. In this first session, you will shoot a jump shot from the marked areas around the court. She will take 2 shots at each marked area. In the first session, you will walk to the next marker, however on the next 2 sessions of the week you should run to the next marker. This will reduce your tedium whilst progressively overloading your skill, not risking a reduction in the reversibility, as by the end of the first session you should have learned a fairly correct jump shot technique. It will focus on using your legs as the main source of power so you can focus on your shot, making sure you follow through correctly without your left leg flicking out to maintain your stability, thus increasing the accuracy of your shot. And with the tests at the end of each day, when both drills are completed, you should complete a test. This is the same method as the first notational analysis test in the first drill, standing behind the free throw line and taking 10 jump shots. This will allow your progress to be reviewed and monitored in case any changes need to be made. If you complete this test and show massive improvements in your technique, then it can be revisited to improve your skill in a game situation, such as taking the shots from a further distance away, whilst moving and whilst having a defender following you at all times. Thank you very much.